Hi guys, Jimmy Fluke here for Apex Racing Academy. This is the Suzuka track guide for week 3 of the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge in the Mercedes-AMG GT4, which is part of our free data pack for this season. As part of that, you'll get the qualifying and race setups, the B-lap and O-lap reference files, the replay file, and we also then provide access to the group coaching session hosted by myself on a Tuesday evening. All you need to do is go to apexracingac.com, sign up and get your order through there. In terms of the track this week at Suzuka, it's a little bit more favoured towards the Mercedes. Lots of long, flowing, high-speed corners where it tends to work at its best. Some curbs to hop over as well, which it handles really, really well, and fewer traction zones to worry about. Plus, cooler track temps this week, which will make any of the slippery bits and the slippery track surface less of an issue. So, without further ado, let's get stuck in. Just a reminder guys to sign up for your free data pack at apexracingac.com. So this is the track guide for Suzuka in the Mercedes-AMG GT4 for this week. Just going to first of all look at the reference points here for turn 1. I'll pause it a little bit further on down. So this sort of patch of grass that's slightly different in colour just before the access road on the left hand side here is a pretty good guide for where we want to get onto the brakes for turn 1. So gentle onto the brake, we're not applying a ton of pressure here and trying to sort of dive for the inside curb here. Be careful with your steering inputs here, down into third gear, out towards the outside curb and the outside white line, and we're just going to feed the car through turn 2, a similar sort of way, just trailing off the brake here and waiting for the front end to bite. Once it does, then we can pick up the throttle. The earlier that we can manage that, the better that it will be for the run out of the corner here. Patience though with the throttle. It takes a bit of time to get this spot on. Ideally full throttle as the curb ends there on the right hand side, and that then takes care of business. The exit curb, make sure to use absolutely all of it, but no real concerns about running wide. Through the SS section, this is all free-flowing stuff, so I'll just roll it through sort of half speed the entire way through. So picking up tons of curb and this green curb on the left, gentle with the throttle, small dab of brake. I'm not taking the curb through the right. Again, smooth onto the throttle, tracking out about 3/4 of the way across before flicking left once again. just a bleed out of the throttle, taking the green curbing where we can just to help pivot the car around, and then braking just at the start of the curb on the right hand side here to get the car slowed up for the final right-hander before Dunlop corner, which will end the S's section. Gentle with the throttle pickup here and making sure to keep the car this time a lot tighter over to the inside on exit so that we open up the final part of this sequence. So flicking left and nice and gentle bleed out of the throttle. Be nice and patient with this so that we can be aggressive through the apex of the corner. If you need to take some of the inside curb, then that's absolutely fine, although I do try and avoid to do so just in case it upsets the balance of the car. On exit, don't try and be a hero running super wide here. Give yourself room just in case the back end wants to step out, which it may do given the amount of punishment that we've put through the tires, and then over to the left hand side as tight as we can to set up the Degners, which will start sector 3. So over we go, braking sort of after the 100 board and where this sort of Degner board is on the left hand side, just ever so slightly after it. I'll just roll through a little bit slower. So smooth onto the brakes all the way out to the white line. I'm just going to roll the car through and forth and take all of the inside curb here, picking up some throttle as we go. So ideally left side wheels pretty much on the white line here, and then throw the car up over the top. Nice and gentle with the throttle though. We're already carrying plenty of speed here. And so as soon as we commit to our exit, making sure that half the car stays inside of the green curbing here and not going into the Astro, then basically as soon as you're settled, straight onto the brakes for Degner 2. Feed the car in third and then down into second gear. Nice early turn in so that we can get early onto the throttle and use all of the camber here on the inside. Avoid the inside curb, that's just going to push the car wide. Positive with the throttle pickup, and as soon as we can unwind the steering, crunch the throttle to 100%, and the exit hopefully then takes care of itself. Again, track limits are half the car must stay inside of the green curbing here, so that's your nice easy sort of metric to work with there. Coming through up towards the hairpin, so wrap the curb nice and tight, and as soon as it ends on the right hand side here, strong onto the brakes and try and brake in as much of a straight line as possible, nice and progressive on the brake pedal down to second and then eventually first gear. In a perfect world, we'd wrap the white line super tight here. I was just a fraction deep, but no major time loss here. But as soon as the front tucks in, then aggressive with the throttle pickup initially to get the car to rotate, and then manage it slightly on the way out because we are accelerating in first gear. So patience with it, unwind the steering, and then attack on the exit. Running wide here isn't usually a concern, just with the line that we usually take, so no real harm done there. So up through the gears, the long run up the hill towards the double apex spoon corner. So up into fifth, and this is a pretty tricky braking zone to get spot on. We've got an access road on the right hand side here. I'll just roll it through nice and slow. We're braking a good chunk before it. Good car length and a half or so before it, and that's why this is quite tricky to get right, because there's no exact reference point of where to get onto the brakes, so that's part of the challenge. Down into third gear, turning in nice and early here, not trying to pick up the inside curb, again that can push the front end slightly wide, and then once past the apex point, a little bit of throttle just to throw the car a little bit wider. In an ideal world, we get the right side wheels into the green AstroTurf here on the right hand side, so past the green curbing, but not so wide in which you would then invalidate your lap time. So once out here, then gently breathe back onto the brake pedal and then tuck the nose back in for the second apex of spoon corner. As soon as the front bites, just here, pick up the throttle and allow the car to keep rotating, but start to build momentum off the corner. In an ideal world, we're full throttle before the curb ends there on the left-hand side, and then we just walk the car out towards the outside curb. Do be careful about the track limits here. If you track out slightly too early here and have more than half your car into the green curbing here, that will invalidate your lap time. So making sure that when we're tracking out that we do so at the widest point when we're over the red and white curbing, and that will allow us to stay within track limits. Like so. From here, up the hill towards 130R, This is quite tricky in a GT4. It doesn't quite have the same downforce as some of its faster counterparts. So the 100 board here and the 50, we're going to go in between the two. This pylon here, or this sort of floodlight actually on the right hand side, will work quite nicely as a guide. Just as we come past it, a gentle breathe onto the brake, and plenty of curb on the inside. In fact, a little bit of grass as well. This will help rotate the car. And because the Mercedes is so good over the curbs, it'll take this like an absolute champ. Gentle with the throttle pickup initially, just to make sure that we don't generate too much understeer and we don't force the weight too far back too early. And then ideally then able to commit fully to our exit, right sideways onto the red and white curbing. You can go wider than this, but it's a bit of a like auto spin curve if you catch it wrong by going too far wide. So just make sure to only go as wide as the red and white curbing here. And then from here, we'll bring the car as far over to the left-hand side as we can. I'll just pause it here. We're splitting the difference between the 150 and the 100 board, braking, you know, if you can visually see it, somewhere in the 125 range, which is around this area here. Get the car straightened as much as possible before getting onto the brakes, just to maximize our straight line performance. Down into second gear, and then once into second gear, we can start to bleed off the brake and turn the car in. Plenty of inside curb, but do make sure to avoid off tracking on the inside here by taking too much of the inside curb. And as soon as we get here, plenty of commitment over the curb. Introduce your throttle, and then bleeding out of the throttle, flicking left, and plenty of curb once again. And then as soon as we get to the curb, throttle up, let the car land, and then commit to your exit, full throttle, and run as wide as you absolutely need to. From here, it's a short run to the line. Keep it nice and tight on a qualifying lap down the hill here, just to minimize the distance that you travel to the line. And that's a lap of Suzuka in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. If you've got any questions regarding the car and track combination this week, the best place to ask is in the Discord server. Access to that is through your email order. Follow the instructions within that to gain access to the car channel, where you can ask the questions that hopefully I'll be able to answer. So that's it for us this week. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.